there's three legs to the stool of governmental employees: health benefits, pensions, and pay. I've got a relatively straightforward question, and which requires a yes or no answer, but then maybe you can go into some detail. When you look today at health benefits, retirement, pensions, and pay, generally speaking, do you believe that what private workers are getting and what governmental workers are getting is equal? And if not, what should we do about it?
No, it's not equal. When you factor in the benefits, including retirement, on average, state workers, government workers are doing better than private sector workers. They might make a little less in salary, or maybe even a lot less for some high demand fields like IT. I mean, I struggle to keep my IT professionals because they can make a lot more money, and they can get 50% or more if they go out to the private sector. Where government employees have really done well is in the healthcare benefits and in the retirement benefits. Because for years, what legislators have been doing, and also local government officials have been doing, this is not limited to state government, it's not limited to our state, is they've been providing richer and richer benefits on the back end because, of course, they don't have to pay the cost of that. It kicks the can down the road, but it gives the union something that they want. And what's really striking is if you look at PERS 1, PERS 1 and TERS 1 are still in the red. And what's astounding is they were both closed to new enrollees in 1977. If you weren't working as a teacher or you weren't working in state government by 77, you couldn't get into PERS 1. But in the 80s and 90s, the legislature kept improving the benefits. Gain sharing. They passed this idea that, well, the stock market's going crazy and the returns are a lot higher than we need to pay out, and so we're going to share that. And they passed a law allowing that. And they passed laws that provided cost of living adjustments. And they passed laws providing that people could get a subsidy to buy health insurance as retirees through the state system. And that all was fine for a while. And now it's turning out you can't afford it. So what does the state legislature do? They say, well, we're going to repeal gain sharing. Because when we passed that bill, we wrote it out in black and white that it is just, for as long as we want to provide it, as long as we feel we can, it's not a permanent benefit. It was written right in there. So they repealed it. Lawsuit. So now I'm defending this lawsuit. Where the union's saying, oh, no, you gave it to us. You always have to give it to us now. You gave us COLAs. You always have to give us COLAs. So what do we do about this going forward? Well, number one, we keep fighting on gain sharing and COLAs and stuff that is not vested, because we should be able to change those since they were not promised when people vested in their pensions. Number two, we look at new hires and say, look, you're not going to be in a defined benefit plan anymore. You're either going to be in a defined contribution plan or you're going to be in a hybrid like PERS 3. We got to change the rules that say that you can retire early and collect most of your pension. People are living longer. I mean, that's just the fact of it. And we need to change rules such as the rule that says that in the last 2 or 3 years of your service, you can rack up all the overtime possible, and we're going to count that towards as your base part of your salary, right? Because it's based on your last 2 years. That just doesn't make sense. I mean, you shouldn't be able to count overtime towards your calculated pension benefit. That just doesn't make sense. Well, so those are all changes we need to make.
As statistics show that fewer and fewer private employees even have an option for a pension.
Right.
And governmental employees, of course, that's not the case. Obviously, governmental employees are taxpayers, but the vast majority of employees, period, are private employees.
Right.
It's about an 80-20 breakout there. Do you think that private employees are getting frustrated that they have to help pay for governmental pensions when they don't get one themselves?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. And we haven't seen it manifest explicitly in our state, but look what happened in California recently. A series of votes in cities like San Jose that cut pension benefits because people are tired of having basic services cut and taxes raised to fund pension benefits they can't see that they don't ever get themselves in the private sector. So there is an equity issue. There is also just a fundamental sustainability question. It's not sustainable. And keep in mind that the public pension systems of our country are being subjected to new and much more stringent accounting rules because they've been operating under different rules for years than private pensions are. And now the folks who make the accounting rules are saying, no, we've got to have some consistency here. So, for example, public pensions are not going to be allowed to assume 8% per year returns forever. And our state has already ratcheted it down to 7.75. They've cut it to 7.5. You know, and there are some who think that's still too high. They're making assumptions that just aren't realistic, and of course that also creates big problems when you get a downturn in the economy.